past summer. It was absolutely incredible. Look at pictures. Think about the program. I'm confident it's going to be fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to fill you guys in a little bit about what we're going to do today. I don't know why this is here. So as you guys all know, that coming here you get free passport photos. And so what we have actually done, I've worked it out with the campus card office in the Union. Instead of us all like trooping over there together and trying to take all these photos this afternoon, I'm going to send a list of everyone who has come today to the campus card office, and you can go by there anytime over the next week and get your photos taken. They'll print them out for you, and then they'll charge us. So that's going to be way easier on you guys. If you didn't RSVP, but you're here, you still get them because we had some open spots. So thank you for coming. This should be totally informal. If you guys have questions throughout, please feel free to just raise your hand, and I'd be happy to answer as we go. Applying for a passport, you think, no brainer, this is going to be easy. But the passport is actually surprisingly tricky. There are a lot of pitfalls to where you show up to apply and then you don't have everything that you need, you don't have things filled out correctly, and you have to go home and do it all over again. So hopefully that will help prevent that. So we're going to spend about 30 minutes talking about applying for the passport, get your questions answered, and then after that, if you guys need to leave for a class, you are welcome to do that, but I'm going to stick around for maybe another half hour to answer any questions that you guys have about studying abroad more generally, and about the Honors College grant process. So you think you might get questions. So first, what is a passport? So the passport obviously is what allows you to travel to other countries. Any country in the world, you're going to need a passport, and that includes Canada and Mexico. You can actually apply for two different kinds of passports. You can apply for the book. You can also apply for the card. And you all need to apply for the book. So don't get tripped up. The card is much cheaper, but the card is only good for Mexico, Canada, and any place in the Caribbean that you can access through a seaport. So you really need to just go ahead and get the book, because likely the places that you're going to. Do you have a question? Yes. Okay, sorry, we're videoing this, don't be alarmed. We're just going to put it on YouTube for people who weren't able to come. So, passport book. Okay. Now, when applying for a passport, I'm titling these topics the Inconvenient Truths of applying for a passport. There's some things about it that are just tragically inconvenient that I wish were different, but they just aren't. You must apply in person. This isn't something that you can submit online, and most places that you will apply, you will need to block out probably a good half hour. It shouldn't take that long, but you don't want to be rushed. You can apply on campus. We have a passport office in the Union. It is on the very bottom floor of the Union, across the hall from the post office. So if you've never been down there, basically you just keep going down the stairs until you can't go any further, past the rec center, past the food court. The post office will be on the left, the passport office is on the right. You do not have to make an appointment to go to their passport office, but you can if you want to. There probably won't be a person standing there, but you can just ring the bell or ask the guys at the post office and they'll get someone for you to come out. Also, most U.S. post offices take passports. Now, some post offices require you to make an appointment, so be sure to call ahead before you show up, because it would be a shame to show up and realize, I have to have an appointment. The other inconvenient truth is that it's quite expensive to get a passport. It's going to cost you $110 that you'll send to the State Department, and then an additional $25 that you'll pay to the processing center, so like to the Union or the post office or wherever you're going. So a total of about $135. And that's for 4 to 6 weeks of processing time. So if you guys are studying abroad next summer, even next spring, and you apply this month, you should be just fine in terms of timeline. But if you're in a rush, you forget to apply for your passport, you're going on an intersession, you can get expedited processing. That's an additional $60, and that's 2 to 3 weeks door to door. And then you can pay an additional $15 for overnight delivery. So moral of that story, don't wait. Just do the normal processing time. So, here's what you need to take with you when you go to apply for the passport. First of all, the completed application. We're going to talk about that in a second. You'll take your passport photo, which you guys will get to take in the campus card office, which is on the 5th floor of the Union, where you take your U of A ID, in case you don't know. And just some notes for when you go to take your photo. Normal streetwear, wear your normal everyday clothes. If you normally wear glasses, you need to be wearing them. You can't wear any hats, any kind of headgear, any sunglasses, obviously. You don't want anything that blocks your hair or your hairline. And you can't wear any kind of military uniform, so like if you're in the ROTC, you can't wear that, obviously. And then the guy in Union told me that you shouldn't smile in your passport photo. I'm smiling in my passport photo, so I don't know how I got around that. But I guess just as a good rule, just don't smile, look mad, and they'll be happy about that. Okay, then you need to take an original birth certificate. Here's where it gets dicey. I doubt most of you have your original birth certificate just hanging out in your house. So you need to call your parents, figure out where your birth certificate is. If it's at home in Texas, maybe you can wait and apply for your passport once you're at home, or pick it up one day when you are visiting. Maybe have your parents mail it to you, but it is kind of a valuable document, so be careful about that. It does have to be original, it can't be a copy, and it has to be the real birth certificate with the embossed seal. It can't be like sometimes they have these weird like hospital certificates. It has to be a legal birth certificate. If you are from Arkansas, you'll take your Arkansas driver's license. You also need to take copies of the front and the back of your license. And it's best easier if you just show up with your copies already done. The Union passport people will make copies for you, but they charge you, which is lame. And if you show up at the post office without copies, they might turn you away. Now remember, you can make copies in the library, and if you do the scan to email in the library copiers, it doesn't charge you. So you'll scan it, the copier will email it to your email account, and then you can print from there. If you are not from Arkansas, you will still take your out-of-state driver's license, but you need a second ID. And your U of A student ID is just fine for this. So take copies of your driver's license and of your U of A student ID. Or you can wait until you go back home and apply there. So if you're from Texas, you can apply here with a Texas driver's license and a student ID, or you can apply in Texas with just your driver's license. Now you'll take copies, but you also need to take the originals, because you'll show the people your original and you'll give them the copies. All right, and then you'll need your money. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You have to have two separate forms of payment. You send $110 to the State Department, and then you give $25 to whoever's processing your application. So that $110 that you send to the State Department, it needs to be either a check or a money order. It can't be cash. You can't pay with a debit card, which is late. It's like we're living in the 1800s. So if you don't have checks, because we live in the 21st century, and you only have cash, don't worry. You can go to the campus post office and they can make a money order for you. So you can give them your cash, and I think they charge a $1.25 fee for the money order, and then they will hand you a money order, and you can literally turn around, go to the passport office, and they can accept that. Now the $25 that you pay to the processing people in the Union can be cash, but they also do not accept credit or debit cards. So cash, check, money order. That makes sense? Okay. Oh, there we go. And then, I know most of you do not have a passport, but if you do, you need to take your passport with you if it has not expired. So let's say your passport expires next year, and you're applying for a new one because you want to travel abroad next year. You have to send the State Department your unexpired passport. If your passport has expired, like it's from your childhood or whatever, you can keep that, use it as a souvenir, frame it for your wall. But if it's an unexpired passport, you need to take that with you as well. Any questions so far? I know this is like super exciting stuff, guys, but it's important to know. Okay. So let's talk about the application itself. So like I said, you have to apply in person. You actually have to take a hard copy of your application. So you can do this in a few different ways. What I have given you, you can use that. You can fill that out, take that with you, that's just fine. You can also go online to the State Department's website, and you can actually type in, you can fill in the application type, and then print it. There's no advantage to doing that, except it just looks nicer. Or you can go by the union and pick up like an official hard copy of the application and fill it out. But the printed one is just fine. So I printed this one for you guys here. You can use that to fill it out. You can also just take notes on it as we walk through the application if you need to remind yourself of something, and then you can go back online and print a new one. But if you do print a new one, make sure that you print it on 2 sheets. They will not accept it if it's front and back. So front, right? Okay. Also, if you print a new copy, make sure you pay attention to the margins. So the first time I printed this, it cut off the very top of the application. I had to change the scale to like 95% to make it fit. So just be aware of that, because if you show up with an application that's cut off, they're going to turn you away and you're going to have to start all over. Okay, let's talk about the application itself. So this is the first page, it's just the top of it. So when you fill this out, you're going to apply for a U.S. passport book, not the card, no card. And then you'll just want the standard 28-page book. The 52-page book is more expensive, and it's really just for people who travel constantly for work. That's not going to be you guys. So 28-page book is just fine. Then we have, typical stuff that you need to know. Your place of birth, where were you born? Your social security number. Sometimes, I'm not quite sure if I had mine memorized in college, so maybe check with your parents if you don't know that. And then all other names you have used. Now, I doubt most of you are married, so no worries there. If you are, you would need to put your maiden name. If you change your name as a child, like if you were adopted, or if your custody changed, you need to put your earlier names on there as well. Okay. Then the bottom half of the application looks like this. Just don't do anything. Just don't touch it. Don't staple your photo, just take your photo with you and let them do it for you. Just make sure you don't do it incorrectly. All of this stuff, they'll fill out for you, and once they've done that, then you will sign it here in front of them. They need to see you sign it, so just ignore the bottom half of the application. Okay. So on the back-end side, this is important. You need the last name of your parent that they were born with. For your dad, probably not going to be a problem. For your mom, you need to make sure that it's her maiden name, the name that she was born with. So if she changed her name when she got married, or changed her name for custody or whatever, you just need to make sure that you're putting their maiden or original name when they were born. Down here, for occupation, you'll put that you're a student. Put that you're at the University of Arkansas, right here, number 14. And then this stuff, height, hair color, eye color, just be prepared to fill that out if you don't know how tall you are. And then your travel plans. I know some of you know that you're going to study abroad, but you're not entirely sure when or where. Just do the best you can. If you're thinking about next summer, if you're thinking about that South Africa trip, just put roughly the dates you think you'll be gone, the country you're going to visit, South Africa. If that changes, it's not the end of the world. People travel all over the place with their passport. So just fill that out the best that you can. It's probably not great to leave it blank. Yes, ma'am?
Do you put your real hair color or whatever color your hair is?
I don't know. I would say probably your natural. I don't know. Do you know?
That's a very good question. I would go with something that was vague, like light brown. That way we go betwixt in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't put orange or something.
Yeah.
Right. I think, man, that's a tough question. I'm not sure. I think, like in your case, you could say light brown and get away with it. Kind of blonde or kind of brown. If you might like call or even go down into the union and ask and say what would be best. because like my passport is a few years old, and so I look pretty different than I did. You know, it's a different cut. I filled out a little bit because I gained some weight. You know, so you're not going to look exactly the same. That's not going to be the end of the world. But that's a great question that I don't know the answer to. Okay. Travel plans as close as you can. Don't skip it. And then this last part, your permanent address. So, you know, if you still consider your permanent address to be your parents' address, you'll list that. Know that that is where they will mail your passport to. So, if you live in Fayetteville year-round and you're from Alaska and you never go home, you probably don't want to list that address. So just be aware of that. That's where they're going to mail your passport to, so you want to make sure it's someplace you're accessible. You don't want to list it if you're going to move next month, right? Because then it could get lost in the world of mail. And then another tricky thing here, have you ever applied for or been issued a passport? You'll say yes or no. Most of you will say no. But if yes, you'll keep going, and you have to tell the status. If it's not expired, you submit it with the application. But if it is expired, you just say that it's in my possession. Just keep people from stealing your identity. Okay. So that is the application. What questions do you guys have about applying for this? Yes, ma'am.
So do we have to use black ink? I saw like on this page plain. Or can we
Yes.
use blue?
So this page here that you guys got, this is what the Union passport guide gave me. I made copies for you guys. So if it says to use black, I would definitely use black. And then this is the number that he wrote. This is the number of the passport office. So if you guys want to call and ask them a question or schedule an appointment, that's the number that you'll use. Yeah. Okay. What other questions do you guys have? Yes.
Can we wear earrings for the passport picture?
I imagine that if they were studs, that would be fine. But you just don't want to wear anything that's really distracting or that like hides part of your face. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you keep your hair like up or down?
I would say probably down.
Okay.
Yeah, because they want to see what you really look like. So sometimes when you go through an airport and the customs guy is looking at your passport, he's like said to me like, I need you to take your sunglasses off the top of your head or like take your hair down so that you look like yourself. Jason Bourne. Changing your name. Any other questions? Yeah.
For the additional contact phone number, is that more like a personal relation or an employer or?
Where is that?
It's number 12.
I would say that's probably like a phone number for you. So what you could do is like put your cell phone number as your first one, and then put like your parents' home phone number for that additional one. Yeah.
I have two questions. First of all, I notice it has 2 spaces for parents. If you're only in contact and you only want one of the parents, what should you do for the other two?
I usually blank.
And is it problematic if you completely change your hairstyle after you leave passport?
It shouldn't be, because I mean your passport is good for 10 years, and if they really expect people to just not make a change in 10 years, like that's not likely. They might really study your face, but it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
As far as study abroad goes at the U of A, is there any other informational session to see what all is available for us?
For studying abroad?
Yes.
Okay. If you are like, what the heck is studying abroad? I'm interested. The best thing to attend is the Study Abroad office. They have sessions called Hogs Abroad 101. Thank you. And they meet every Tuesday and Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and it's in the Foreign Language Center in J.B. Hunt. If you go to the Study Abroad website, you can read more details. You don't have to RSVP, you just show up, and they happen all semester long. And so those are great introductions to just what studying abroad is, the different kind of options that you have, different kind of programs you can do. Here's what funding is available. The Study Abroad office also has open advising on Wednesdays from 1 to 5. So the study abroad office, if you don't know, is a little yellow brick house off of Maple, basically just directly that way. And you can show up on a Wednesday from 1 to 5 and just walk in and say, hey, I'd like to study abroad. What can you tell me? And it'll help a little bit if you have, like, this is what I'm majoring in, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I want to do. It can kind of help guide you to some specific programs. That's a great question. Okay, now you're fine. Any questions about passports specifically, and then we'll open it for study abroad? Yeah.
If our passport is like considerably old, like we definitely do not look like our 13-year-old self, can we just get a new photo in it, or would we
No.
have to get the whole new thing?
You'd have to get a whole new thing because your photo in the book is printed there. Yeah, so you probably would want to get a new passport. And most countries, like this will vary a little bit, but most countries require you to have a passport that is good for at least 6 months after the time of travel, right? So if it expires in May, they're not going to let you enter the country in January, right? So it has to be good for a full 6 months.